Alright, welcome back to Case Closed, Anime Review, episode number 273. You might be thinking, wait, Nick, there's not a new episode released today. True. There's not. I'm actually a movie for this one. Yes. A movie that came out, well, it was supposed to come out 5 years ago, but was delayed because of COVID. Yes, the very first movie released for Case Closed under the Rainfall era, The Scarlet Bullet. Yes, the film was delayed because of COVID. Yeah, that was the reason why. They delayed it by a whole year. Not a couple months, a whole year, because it was a movie, not a TV show. And the movie's called The Scarlet Bullet. This movie is the first movie to feature both the FBI, Sarah, and her mother, Mary. Now, Sarah last appeared in movies in movie 18, and I had a big criticism of the movie. I still have this criticism the very day. It's like you feature Sarah in the movie and then she's taken out halfway through because she's shot. It's like, what was the point? It's like she was wasted in the movie. It's like when they run this movie, it's like, yeah, this is basically the animators apologizing to the fans of the show for not featuring Massimo Sarah more in her last movie. So they brought it back here. Now, since this is actually the 24th movie ever released. Yes, the last movie I have reviewed was Fist of the Blue Sapphire, which was a movie that was the very first movie for Case Closed to not take place in the United States. Now, excuse me, not in Japan. This took place in Hong Kong. And that was actually pre-planned for the Kaito arc, where the plan for that one was originally to go to Hong Kong, but was changed to Kaito because of last-minute editorial stuff. And that's the reason we went to Kaido instead. And that wasn't the anime's fault, that was actually the creator's fault for that one. So in this particular movie, it's like, by the way, the movie's runtime is 1 hour and 50 minutes, almost 2 hours. And yeah. And this movie is just pure awesome at its finest, because the Case Closed movies, ones I've seen so far, like the last several ones I've seen, they're really good. This also is the first one in a while where it's not from the Case Closed anime, the main series, or even the manga. First time in a while. Yes, it's been 5 years since I did review an actual movie from Case Closed, but now basically we have to talk about this movie. The movie starts off 15 years prior to this movie, so if it was supposed to come out in 2020. But by the way, there's a reference here to the Olympics, which was also delayed because of COVID. Yes. So that means that the opening scene takes place in the year of 2005 in Detroit, where we see this black guy being chased. By the way, he's zip tied, and you're probably thinking, oh crap, is he, because it's stereotypical U.S. discrimination stuff like, oh, because he's black, he's on the run. Is the police after him? No. And you're like, wow, that's different for a change. Yeah, he's actually, turns out later on in the video, he actually escaped from a kidnapper. Yes, he escaped from a kidnapper, and he's running through Detroit all over the place. And then he arrives at the subway, and he's basically he's shot at too. And then he gets on the train, and then he's shot and dies on the train. And it turns out he was actually one of 3 sponsors for that year's Olympics in Detroit. And then a few years later, the same thing happened in Atlanta, but then the person responsible for those kidnappings was arrested. And we have where there's also the sushi chef was blamed for this. Now, people, of course, basically contended his innocence. Jump ahead to present day, where we have this brand new, spanking new train, where it's going to be a big bullet train, where it basically rides at 1,000 kilometers an hour, really, really fast, right in a vacuum tunnel. I think this is based upon the real life stadium that Tokyo did have when they hosted Olympics in 2021. Yes. And I think this was the Summer Olympics. I think they were supposed to have, I think it was Summer Olympics, but it was delayed for a year. And of course, if you see, if anybody ever seen the Olympics in Tokyo during 2021, you probably notice basically everything still has the 2020 logo on it. That's because it's supposed to take place previous year, and it's the only Olympics delayed because of a pandemic. It's the only one to do that. Yeah. So, the engineer, of course, sees something happen later with his flag. So, by the way, Sarah is involved in this movie, and Mary. Though they also involved Aki, Jody, Carmel, and James Black. Yep, they're all involved in this movie, which I gotta admit, that's actually a pretty good supporting cast. Yes, there's also appearances by Takagi, Maguire, even Sato. Yes. Now, Sato, Maguire, now you're probably thinking, was Sato and Maguire and Takagi were they featured in the last movie? Nope, they were not. They were not featured. Now, this particular film. Now, last film featured 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gadgets, 5 of whom are Conan's gadgets. This one featured a lot of gadgets. And I do mean a lot of them. Like, they feature practically almost every single active gadget that they have in the series. They have the turbo engine skateboard, the anywhere ball dispensing dimension belt, which he used a couple times in the movie, the power enhancing kick shoes, the elastic suspenders, the telescopic lens, the stun gun wristwatch uses once, the chrono tracking glasses, the Naked Boy badge, wristwatch flashlight, the voice changing choker, and the transmitter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 gadgets. Yes, 11 gadgets. Now, the transmitter, which appears in the movie, now it was recently featured in the anime in episode 1040. In terms of the movies, it was actually used in the previous. It was actually used in Zero the Enforcer and the Crimson Love Letter. Yeah, used a couple times before this, and it's also used in 2 of the following 4 movies. The voice changing choker. I think this was the second ever time that the choker appeared in movies. Yeah, it was actually this actually was the first movie to feature it. Next feature is actually the movie I'll discuss in a future episode. The wristwatch flashlight. This one hasn't featured in most of the movies so far. It was actually just featured in Dimension Sniper, which last time Sarah appeared in the movies. First time appeared in movies was the 3rd movie. It also appeared in 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15. Dimension Sniper was also featured, and after this movie, it's featured in the next 3 movies. Yep. Detective Boy's badge. I believe this one's featured in pretty much like every single movie released to date. For movies wise, mostly yes. This badge has been used in pretty much almost every single movie. Starting with the very first one. The only movies this badge was not featured in was the 3rd movie, the 6th, the 8th, 16, 17, 19, and 20. And it was not featured in the previous movie. But it is featured after this in the next 3 movies, which is quite cool. The chrono tracking glasses, which I'll discuss basically about that one. This one featured in so far 11 movies. First movie it was featured in was actually the 7th movie. It was also featured in 8, 9, 16 through 18. And from 20, it only missed 1 movie. It was not featured in the last 2 movies released. The only movie it missed was 19. Yeah, it missed basically like 8, 10 to 15, and 19 and 23. The stun gun wristwatch. This one has been, get this, like in the case of Detective Boy's badge, this one's been featured in almost every single movie to date. It missed the 3rd movie, the 6th movie. It has also missed the 20th movie, but it is featured in the next few movies. The telescopic lens. Something that does not get featured very much in the show. Yeah, that's the weird thing related to this thing. I like to feature more in the movies than the show itself. Yeah, it first ran movies, with the fifth movie is also featured in 8, 11 through 19, and it has featured in from 21 up until the movie came out last year. The Elastic Suspenders. This one is also not a very well used gadget in the show. Yeah, it appeared in one manga chapter. Yeah, freaking one. In the anime, these suspenders only was featured in about 5 episodes. In the movies, first time I used the movie was the second movie, and it was used again to the 10th, 13th, 14th, 16th, 18, up until 26. Yeah. As for the other ones, the Power Enhanced Kick Shoes, another common gadget that's been regularly featured in the show. The movies, I think it's been featured, I'm looking right now. It missed the second movie, but aside from the second movie, it's been regularly featured in every single movie, including the most recent one that came out. So, it's probably by far the most active gadget. The Anywhere Dispensing Ball. Yeah, this is used a couple times in the movie. And this one's been used in 22 movies. Yes, first appearing in the 7th movie, and I'm looking at it right now. It has not missed a movie since movie 7. Yeah, this one's a regular feature. It's probably, along with Thick Boy's Badge, one regular feature one. The Turbo Engine Skateboard. This one has featured small amount of the main episodes. As a matter of fact, the most recent appearance in the show was actually followed in Detective Taxi. In the movies, it's featured in the first 5 movies. Absent for 4 straight movies, came back for the 10th movie, missed 11, and then did 13 to 16, missed 17, but has been back in the movies since 18, missing only 23. And that's all the gadgets. That's like a half a dozen gadgets. Like, damn. That's a lot. So, that they show this presentation's new train. There's also the Mass Yaba show, which of course Senko has to get involved because she's like the oldest one, she's a teenager. So, basically they show off the model of this train. It's a nice looking train, mind you. I never been a bullet train. I know these things are really fast. So, and of course also there's this guy named Alan involved. Movie. There's these reception girls who wanted to display their own movie. I'll discuss it later. So, and it's also the engineer. He plays a role too. So, they're not riding the initial train. That's actually set up for a test run. So, before they have the whole thing goes, they can't go on a thing because, well, Rand was invited, but she's told not to by her own father because, well, they're going to have this party afterwards. Well, then, mysteriously, the lights go out, and then Sengo's father disappears. Yes, he just randomly disappears. Oh, and in case you're wondering about Sengo's parents, her father has only appeared in 3 movies. Yeah, last movie he ever appeared in was actually the 3rd movie of the series. In the main anime, he does not appear very much at all. No, he's only appeared in 3 episodes. Yeah, he is briefly featured. Apparently makes a cameo in movie 27. As for his very lovely wife, who looks fantastic for her age, so maybe 43 years old. She's only appeared in 2 movies. Just 2. This one was actually her film debut. Yep. We also feature appearance movie by, well, other characters, which we'll discuss this later on. I know Master Sarah is heavily involved in the movie. So, then of course, the father disappears, so everybody's script. Of course, they talk to this guy called Mr. John. He runs away. Also, in this movie, there's like 2 characters who speak English. And of course, apparently the cast forget the fact that Conan can speak English. Yes. Yeah, Conan is one of like 2 people in the whole series who's not the FBI who actually can speak English. Sarah can speak English too, a little bit. Yeah. Also, we see everybody's like planning a thing later on, of course. Then of course, after looking around, and of course, Genta ends up finding Sanako's father because he smells eel because he's always hungry. Because, he's a chubby kid. He loves eel. And they find him in a cabinet. And he doesn't remember who basically knocked him out. He has no memory of it at all. He just knocks out. And then first thing he wakes up, he's the kids basically in front of him. My guess is, as a thank you, that he basically orders the kids tickets, premium tickets to ride this train. Which, how nice of him to do that. So, and of course, Rand's invited too, though apparently it's only given 6. But, yeah. Yeah, only given 6, mind you. Yes, 6. So, I really hope I don't get interrupted. Okay, so then of course, basically, then of course, before we get on this train, this brand new train, they go get health checkup. No, this has nothing to do with COVID. It's just this is a very special train. They don't spread any germs. This is a fresh, brand new train they just finished. So everyone gets examined, and then for some weird reason, someone hits the emergency button in this hospital, and then coolant just falls right to the frickin' vents. It's almost like a gas attack, but not really. It's actually anesthetic that spread throughout the whole entire hospital, but not really. It's actually just be second floor. And then the guy Alan, who basically that was Moore was keeping an eye on, he just disappears. So Conan goes out to get him. Sarah just happens to be there for reasons. By the way, prior to this, she contacts her brother. Not her oldest brother. Oh no, she does not know that he's actually alive. Nope. She basically contacts Sakuchi. Yes, her big brother, not the eldest brother, mind you. Yes, and of course, basically, he's like, and of course, then his girlfriend Yumi shows like, who is that you're talking to? He's like, oh, it's a relative of mine. And by the way, he was actually introducing his sister to his girlfriend. Yes, Yumi is dating the shogi expert. And then she gets drunk in the movie. She doesn't do a lot of stuff, but it's nice to see Yumi in the movie. Yeah, Yumi has been featured occasionally in the movies. Not many movies per se. And this is only her second movie she's ever actually been in the main movies. Next time she appears is actually in the very next movie. As for Henda, I believe this was actually his film debut. Yeah, first time he's ever appeared in the movie. Oh, by the way, we do see Subaru. Okay, we do see Subaru in the movie. Yep. This was actually one of 3 movies he would feature in. I think this would be his second movie he appeared in. First being the 18th movie, and he appeared in the Black Submarine, which is not next movie, it's 2 movies from now. Sarah, I think for her, like Mary, like in the case of her daughter, this was also her second ever movie, and the first movie she appeared in was there was a cameo. This you could say this is her only known film appearance to date, and she was just featured in the anime in a great 2-parter, the Hotel Sarah bombing, which happened just late last year, like just roughly about 6 months ago. Great 2-parter, by the way. Ihabara, she has been mostly featured in, I'd say, pretty much every single movie to date. Let's see. 26 movies. She missed the first 2, but she has been regularly featured since then. The only movie she missed was actually the most recent one that came out, but nice the fact that she's featured. Soniko. She has a feature in good chunk movies. Not a lot. She featured in 29 of them. Yep, 29. Is that pretty much all of them. Yes, she has appeared in pretty much all the movies released today. She's probably the only one besides Coney who's appeared in all the movies. How about Ron? She has been featured also in pretty much every single movie to date, not missing a single one. Of course, Conan has, obviously. As for the Detective Boys, Ayami, she has been mostly featured in pretty much almost every single movie to date. I'm looking at her now. 29. Well, yeah, she's also featured as well. Yeah, she's another one. Masahiko. Yeah, basically the only character featured at this point, all the movies, had just been Conan, Ran, Sonoko, Detective Boys. Mori, Conqueror, I don't think he's been featured in all. Oh, he has. So, he hasn't featured all the movies. Interesting. Yeah. So, then of course, basically, like, then of course you have Conan chasing after them. Of course, Sarah picks up. Mary hides out, basically. And of course, they chase it because they track it because apparently, like, Conan ran to Mr. John. So, he basically, it wasn't John, it was Alan. Where, actually, it was Alan and John. It was just John. So, they put a tracker on him, and they chase him for quite a while. And then, of course, Subaru gets involved. And then we have, briefly, Subaru fighting his own sister. Yes, because Subaru is actually Aki. Of course, here's the thing. In the show, she does not know this actually is her oldest brother. She does not know at all. And briefly, you have him fighting his own mom, who is a former child. By the way, in case you're curious, though, does he know his mother's been turned into a child? Nope. No, he has not. Yeah, so they briefly fight, and of course they go off, and of course they run into each other, and of course they chase after him, and then of course they just happen to find John. Of course, also, basically his glasses are damaged, so they gotta get the spare glasses, so Ibra basically finds out, though, that, because she's a little girl who loves science, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with a kid who loves science. Makes a very smart girl. And also, so apparently, how they initiated the whole gas attack at the second floor. So somebody lifted a gurney and shoved it into a CAT scan machine, basically MRI machine, and because they couldn't get it out, since they had the emergency thing, and somehow they activated the anesthetic, which took everybody out. So Conan gets up also, so that explains that. So, by the way, it's revealed this actually is one of the culprits. Who, by the way, it's one of them who does appear, who is the first one confronted by Conan later on in the movie. So, they chase it, and of course they find him on this bridge, on a bench, by himself, with a suitcase, which is shaped like a silver box. So, he does not know, but he does remember somebody sitting next to him. Possibly this could be this guy Alan, who was an FBI agent, became the president of the Sports Authority. Interesting. So, they thought, oh crap, that the train has left. Well, he's scheduled to leave with no passengers on board. So Conan creates a distraction by firing off a soccer ball, causing it to basically turn into a firework, launching past the reporter's head, actually just brazing her hair. And Conan and Sarah sneak on board this train, and they race to find basically Alan, of course. Then, of course, Aki, while they're on the train, he fires a sniper rifle. He basically takes a sniper rifle and fires a bullet at this frickin' train. And because apparently it's a super bullet, is the way they describe the movie. And it had passed in. This actually does play a role into a scene that comes later on, which good on this movie for doing that. And of course, they find Mr. Allen, and he apparently is kept in a suitcase for some weird reason. So then they initiate a special plan to call up everybody's business phones, and we find out who it is. And the person responsible for one of the culprits in this movie is none other than Makihiko. Yep, she is one responsible for it. Oh, she's one of the people. Apparently, she actually is the daughter of one of the culprits. Yes. And of course, like, she blames the FBI for killing her. Apparently, she also got her name changed thanks to the United States Marine Association. Like, it's like a different department. Yeah, the way they describe it here is weird. And of course, also Alan telling her to basically, because he probably hears the gunshot. Of course, like, stand here, punch your gun up. Oh yeah, and also she gets shot. Oh, it turns out her partner is the chubby engineer, and turns out he was actually the son of the sushi chef. Yes, who he thinks actually was framed by. He thinks the FBI got the wrong guy. Yes, so. Then, of course, basically we have the craziness happen. What craziness is that? A train about to go off the rails. Apparently this train is like wheels like underneath the thing, and of course it's like magnetic. So they try stopping it. So then, of course, when he's found out, he gets off the train. And, of course, Kongo chases after him with Takagi and Sato. And then Jody separates from them because, of course, the Aki is married with his brother, and he sees his girlfriend, his sister, and he sees his brother's girlfriend. Like, I remember her. I'm surprised you say like, "Good job, little brother. You nailed yourself a hot girl," because Yumi's a very beautiful woman. Yes, and basically this whole strategy of cornering the engineer is all his plan, because this is all moves. This is him playing shogi. And it works. And thanks to Carmel's really good driving. He's a really good driver. He may not be a good shot, but he's a damn good driver. And you have Jody, who basically is pointing guns, like trying to stop. And then because the guy just sees her, he just flips the car over. Yeah. Oh, and it turns out the guy did commit the crime, but can't stop the train. So... And of course, Masumi is asking who are your allies. Like, don't worry, they're nice people. And so, the FBI, of course, she does not know about the fact that her brother's FBI. She does not know that. There's something kept in the dark with, because here's the thing: Masumi does not meet Subaru into the Antique Fossil arc. This came before that, so. Then, of course, he goes inside. Apparently, blows the nose of this train off. And uses the suspenders to stop this frickin' train. And then the train goes off the tracks, goes up in the air, and then it smashes to the frickin' stadium. I'm like, damn! What a very good action sequence in the movie. It's probably by far, like, this also had Fist of Boar New Star, where this is really weird. They built this hotel on top of this rock, and there's like nothing underneath. And the thing is, somehow these terrorists managed to blow the pillar underneath this rock thing and cause this whole resort to fall over. And I'm like, are these animators trying to top themselves with a big action sequence like this? Like a trail derailment that flies in the air and crashes in a frickin' stadium? Which, by the way, they actually canceled the opening ceremony because of this train stuff. And look how no one got hurt. So, the engineer is arrested. By the way, Alan does protect the woman. He basically patches her up, takes her because she's not want to die, because the whole point of the wound, which is basically the whole point of her getting shot, was not to kill her. It was to basically wound her and keep her alive so she could basically face her justice crimes. So then, of course, taken to the hospital, read her rights. So he and the engineer are charged with endangering the public, with the train crash, causing a train crash, let's see, destruction of public property, aka the stadium, let's see, I'm sure there was a gun safety measure. I'm sure Japan probably has some like gun laws. I'm sure she was probably charged with that. The engineer is probably charged with, basically running away because he's a fugitive, so he probably got arrested for that. They probably charged with a boatload of crimes. Probably by far, these two, they're going to face a lot of jail time for what they did. Do I think they're probably going to pay a humongous fine for all this freaking damage to this train? The train itself, I highly doubt it because it's property of the company they work for. So, my guess is they probably have to work to pay it off. And also work to pay out the freaking stadium damages. Even though that Conan did stop the train, I mean, the thing is, the company is not going to blame this kid for the damage to the train because he was trying to stop the train. So, probably because they got a report from the police. So that's probably the reason why Conan and Masami weren't necessarily dealing with it. And then we have this really cool sequence where Super is about to leave. And then his mom, who's a former child, basically points a gun at him. Of course, he does not know it's his mom. And then he leaves. By the way, he gets his mass damage. He gets fixed, no problem. But all in all, and of course, basically, like, there's also a thing where Shibuya basically has where he proposes to Yumi and she's supposed to accept, and then she wakes up, she does not remember at all. She doesn't remember accepting a marriage proposal. I'm sure that basically Aki would not have a problem having her as sister-in-law because, well, somebody in law enforcement, well, she's beautiful, and she probably fits perfectly fine with him. But all in all, damn good movie. I thoroughly enjoyed this. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, everybody's pretty much found. And also, this also is the first movie that I could think of where someone died via a gunshot wound. Because you ever heard of any of the previous movies ever doing this? Where someone gets freaking shot? I mean, this apparently can't happen in the show for some weird reason. And the show has to be poisoning, stabbing, hitting with an object, throwing out a window by gunshot. Nope. They can't do the show for some weird reason, but the movie is okay. I'm sure basically kids watching probably this show probably realize, though, yeah, he committed the crime. But what's wrong with hearing a gunshot wound in the show? Because here's the thing. The only person ever to be shot in the show was Hybra's sister. She's the only one. And of course, it was written up as a suicide. Despite the fact she was murdered. But yeah, this also is by far the longest case closed review I've done in quite a while. What I do in the remaining movies? Yes. Since I'm on my break from Kamiriki, I figured though, why not discuss these movies? And this is the first one. Hooray! Okay, so that's going to be pretty much a particular review. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. Next up is Yashihiro Dark Elf. And then My Hero Vigilantes, and then hopefully get time to watch the next movie, which is going to be called Bride of Halloween. The 25th movie overall. Oh, I forgot to mention this too when it comes to the movie. Fist of Blue Sapphire was the last Heisei era film for Case Closed released. This film was the first one of the Wraith era, which is the current era that Japan's going through right now. First of 5 that's been released. I'm looking forward to discussing movies. Once I got caught up, I could basically move on to something else. But I kind of wanted to because that last episode really got me interested in watching the movies again. I figured that I'm a few movies behind. Why not get this done? Now, there's of course also the memory files, the magic file stuff. I still have difficulty trying to find English sub for this damn stuff. Like, I have seriously tried. And because I tried this like about 6 years ago, had to look. Maybe they might have somebody who has a English sub with this thing. I think probably a fan sub. I wouldn't mind a fan sub, but some kind of sub basically would work. Not Indonesian. I can't say Indonesian. So that's that. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye.